Yeah, okay. RazorClaw999 asks, please never let yourselves work with any Eastern-based companies just for the money. To show the, and then later, or second one, to show the AAA gaming companies that cash shops aren't always king. So that is, that's a fun question to answer. And it's one where, to be honest, I don't even know if it would be possible for me to sell out to Tencent anyway, because I've consistently been aggressive to them. Now, I don't know if Tencent have anything to do with what's going on in Xinjiang. Xinjiang? Xinjiang? Yeah, I'm not going to pronounce it right. But anyway, I have no idea like if Tencent are, operating the security cameras. But I know they're involved in, the social credit score system that's rolling in China. And that is stuff that just does not morally sit with me. So it leads you to this problem where, I do not want to work with, ever with a company like that. And, which is funny. I've ended up at a networking dinner beside a representative from NetEase. You know what? I had a great chat with her, all grand, but at the end of the day, it's like I have severe moral issues with with the Communist Party of China. It's almost too numerous to get into, isn't it? Right? People think that what they're doing with the Uyghurs is like a new thing. But I mean, there's organ harvesting from Falun Gong practitioners, stuff like that is just a thing that goes on. So it's like, I'm never going to be selling out to that stuff. Now, if there's a world where, the games that we make, I would like those to be things that, that audiences in China could enjoy. Course, right? China is actually very high up on my list of places I would love to go to.
The culture and the people there are great.
It's so I wouldn't want to punish a bunch of people purely just for what their government is doing at all. But then that means that whether this stuff makes it there is kind of there's parts of it that are in their hands. So it's tricky. So would we try to get a game available for sale in China if it makes sense? Yes. But would we be taking, cash deals and, stuff is telling you, well, those characters, they're not really in fitting with our values, or, this thing, we don't want that, or, this reference here, that, no.
Yeah,
you don't want to be a situation where you're Disney and John Boyega has been airbrushed out of your movie poster. Like, that's morally untenable. How Disney let the Chinese marketing for that so overtly do that, I do not know, because that's I guess actual just overt racism.
I guess the people
not cool.
I guess the people in charge weighed up how much the money meant to them in the company versus the principle, and went, have the money, please. Which, in a certain extent, you can kind of you can vaguely forgive people for making that decision, because what people do is up to them. If you want to take a dirty deal, sure. If you're putting food on people's table and it's necessary, you can't be like super aggro. But at the same time, if you're not going to stand up for some sort of principle, what are you doing? Like, at least give it a good shot. At least give it a good shot to try and, even through small actions, make the world a bit of a better place to live in, even if that's just denouncing something and standing for being reasonable, as opposed to...
at the end of the day, I'm happy to say it, we are a pro-Taiwan organization. Does that mean anything? Well, what it means is that, for at least the YouTube side of things, like, I kind of get to say that. Yeah. Like, Taiwan is its own country. Yeah. Taiwan is not a part of China. Taiwan is its own country and a democracy. There you go. I cannot work with... that's it. Because this is on camera, there you go.
You would have to renounce that pretty heavily before...
And I would never renounce that, because the facts are that Taiwan is its own country. Yeah. So there you go.
There you go.
There.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that, really.
Yeah, and sorry to any Chinese viewers who have had their internet cut out because we said that.
Yeah, yeah. And it's obviously very important to say it's always, it's not the people, it's the party.
Yeah.
And I also think that you do have to show people latitude and empathy, knowing that they're going to have certain opinions because they've grown up always with the CCP being on top and a situation where they cannot speak ill against it.
Yep.
So, for me, it is a criticism of a party and a system. It is not a criticism of people, even though those people may be involved in and enabling that party and system. But at the end of the day, that's like the only thing they've ever known. So you kind of can't expect, especially when extremely sophisticated disinformation campaigns and propaganda are being, sort of levied at them.
They're so good at it too. Like what they did with that Hong Kong deportation case, that was so smart. Like,
yeah,
they had like Hong Kong people and mainlanders completely believing them entirely and going, yeah, okay, you've presented us with a moral problem, and the moral problem you've presented to us, the answer based on our cultural moral values is the one that supports this like deportation, which obviously you're like, in this case that's the correct move as they saw it, but what it would lead to is so much worse.
Yeah,
is kind of the enabling of it, and they're real good at that. So it's hard to have issue with people who believe certain things or think certain ways, because people are usually justified fairly well.
Yeah,
it's just as you say, the party.
It's the sort of thing though I'm happy to do business with. Yeah, we literally do business with a Chinese company because turns out you basically cannot get pins manufactured in the West or anything like that. Nope. You'll see Western companies that sell pins. They just outsource to factories, and so they're more than happy to do any of that. That's just doing business with a country, with a company in another country. It's just. That's got to be just doing business. Yeah, there's got to be a sort of no strings attached in the, just because I do that means I cannot say things here. That obviously cannot happen. So that's basically that situation.
I just thought of someone refusing to do business with us because they don't like what Arlene Foster says, and that's kind of how silly it is. Where that's like Arlene Foster, our first minister, that's nothing to do with us. There's nothing we can do to stop her from saying particular things or tweeting.
Yes,
things.
I cannot wait until she is no longer our first minister. In fact, I cannot wait until just about anyone involved with our government is not involved in our government anymore. But that is problems of Northern Ireland, so let's move on. We